Hello again and welcome back to part 2 of this 3-part video training series. And today we're going to be covering a very interesting topic, and it's going to be retargeting. So it's basically using the internet to do the dirty follow-up work for you. So let's get started. So the unfortunate truth is that a massive percentage of your marketing budget is completely going to waste. So if you're watching this presentation, you're probably already spending some money on online marketing. And I hate to tell you it, you're wasting a big chunk of your money. 3% of visitors to leads is actually excellent without having any of these follow-up systems in place. So 3%, that's meaning that if you're getting 1,000 people coming to your site on a monthly basis, 30 visitors are going to turn into leads out of those 1,000 people. And let me tell you, 1,000 people to a HVAC website is actually pretty good going depending on your location. So 3% of visitors to leads is an excellent stat. And 50% of those leads are going to turn into sales. That's actually very normal from a lot of the business owners that I've spoken to. 50% is a number that just keeps coming back. The metric that always seems to pop up. They're converting 50% of their leads into sales. So that definitely means that there's some money being left on the table. 97% of people that are visiting your site aren't going to turn into leads, and half the people that are leads aren't actually going to buy anything. So there's plenty being left on the table, so we can make our marketing budget stretch a lot further than what we are. So let's go through a quick hypothetical case study, I guess you could call it here. So with retargeting, we can essentially do this in two different phases. So first of all, this hypothetical business has $500,000 in revenue, and $150,000 of this is in web sales. So sales that are coming directly through the internet, through Google AdWords, through Google SEO, organic, maps, just all these sales that are going to be coming through the internet. So a typical site, let's just say it's getting 4,000 unique website visitors per year, and they're going to be converting at that 3% number we discussed earlier. So that's going to mean there's going to be 120 leads coming in from the internet on a yearly basis. 50% of those leads are going to turn into sales. So it's going to be 60 sales, and let's just say our HVAC company, the hypothetical one, is doing some installations as well as some servicing, but we're pretty good with the installations. So we're having an average transaction value of $2,500. So just to recap, our hypothetical business has $500,000 in revenue, 150 of that is in web sales. So let's apply phase 1 visitor retargeting, which I'm going to talk to you about a little bit later on. So we're still going to get 4,000 unique visitors coming to the site, but now we're going to convert at 4% due to some retargeting that I'm going to show you a little bit later. So now we've got 160 leads coming to the site. So we've increased the amount of leads that have come to the website. We're still converting those at 50%. So now we've got 80 sales instead of 60. And we have an average transaction of $2,500, and our web sales have gone up to 200,000. So we've had a $50,000 increase in web sales through the exact same number of visitors. Now business revenue is $550,000, so we've scored a nice little pay rise or a jump in revenue, up 10% in revenue, up to $550,000. So that's pretty handy. So that's just applying phase 1 of visitor retargeting. Again, I'm going to show you this a little bit later on. Now we're going to apply phase 2, which is lead retargeting. So remember those figures from before? We're up to 550,000 in revenue. So let's improve the conversion rate through retargeting on these leads from 50% to 60%. So now with our 60% conversion rate, we have 96 sales. So we've gone from 60 sales to 80, now we're up to 96. So 96 sales at $2,500 is now $240,000 in web sales. So we're up 90,000 on the original example, and now the business revenue is 590,000. So using the same amount of visitors, those 4,000 visitors, we've applied retargeting in 2 different phases, and we've jumped the revenue from $500,000 up to 590. So that's obviously a really good jump, right? So what are the benefits of retargeting? So essentially, we are stretching our marketing dollars further. We are still getting the same amount of visitors coming to the website, but we're making our dollars work a little bit harder. So you'll find what you can do is you can either increase your marketing expenditure a little bit and put a little bit of money into retargeting, or you can redirect some of your marketing expenses and put those into retargeting. So there's a couple of different ways that you can go about that. One of the other benefits is you are giving attention to prospects that are familiar with your business, which is really key. It's quite difficult, as you can imagine, in the HVAC industry, trying to convert somebody who's come to the website for the very first time. They might not even be interested in a system. It might just be a hot day and they're having a think about it. It's just popped into their mind. So you're giving your attention to prospects that are familiar with your business when you're doing retargeting. You're following up on people that are likely to take action, or more likely than someone who's completely cold. And because of this, the sale is easier because the prospect is generally better educated because they've had multiple touch points with your business. So they might have visited your website multiple times. They might have inquired through a contact form or a phone call. They might have visited multiple pages on your site. So all of a sudden, with retargeting, you're displaying more ads to them in a slightly different way to what you've already been doing. You might have your unique selling proposition in there. You might have a special offer. Then all of a sudden they're better educated, that they know more about your business as a solution, and they're more likely to buy. So the great thing about the digital retargeting is that it really does the follow-up work of a sales team. Could you imagine that every person that visited your website, somehow you managed to get their details, but then a salesperson followed up on the people that came through? You'd need a massive sales force and obviously a lot of salaried positions to be able to follow up on all these people. So the great thing about the digital retargeting is that it does a lot of the follow-up work for you. Then from there, you can basically leave your salespeople to do the closing and really only deal with hot prospects or at least warm prospects. So why don't people convert when they come to your site or visit your business or get in contact with a salesperson? Multiple reasons, really. They might be price sensitive. You just might be too expensive, or you might be a middle priced option, but they just want something really, really cheap. Or they might be a snob, is what we call them, down under, and they might be looking for a really expensive solution. It's hard to say, but price sensitivity is a part of why people don't do business with you, or they might not have the funds at that particular time. People are also uneducated about what they are buying, so I tend to believe the sales cycle for HVAC is long compared to other products. Like obviously compared to buying a loaf of bread, the sales cycle is quite a bit longer. So people are generally uneducated about what they're buying. The average person on the street isn't going to know anything about a particular system that you're selling. They're not going to know any of the technical details. They're going to be uneducated. So that's why people don't convert, because they're afraid of making a mistake. It generally is a big ticket item, getting a new system, and it's not something that you go about lightly. You don't make a quick decision with that. Other reasons might be that they've converted with a competitor. If that's the case, then you really can't do a whole lot about that unless they obviously have a bad experience, and then you'll be there waiting for them. They also might be early in the buying cycle, so they might just be browsing. Depending on the sales material that you've listened to in the past, if any at all, you might have heard things like it takes 7 contacts with a company before a consumer feels comfortable and they start buying, as an average that we're talking about there. So if somebody is really early in the buying cycle, they might only be on their first, second or third visit to a website. They might be really early in the cycle of trying to find out more information about the product and what they need and what their particular property is like. So if you get in contact with a person early in the cycle, you're going to have some things in place to be able to nurture them through to the sale. And one of the other unfortunate things that happens is we have a freeze mentality as well. So sometimes people are just unsure about what they're going to do. Something might be quite expensive. A system might be $5,000 or $10,000 depending on what they're getting, and they don't know what to do. So the safest thing for them to do is to do nothing. And that's obviously really difficult for an HVAC business and a sales team when people are unsure and undecided about what they're doing. But they're just some of the reasons why people don't convert. So I'm sure by now you're keen on actually figuring out what the hell is this retargeting thing that we've been talking about. So we've got this diagram here. I'm going to walk you through this. So if we're starting on the top left with the number 1 there, we have the internet user. So they come and visit your site through a variety of means. And then we have what's called a retargeting pixel that gets placed on the website, and we're going to go through that in just a second. But the retargeting pixel is on your site and the internet user visits your website. Assuming they do not convert, they then leave your site and they are what we call pixeled. So from there, they're browsing around the internet, more than likely on Facebook, because that's the example we're going to be using here. And then all of a sudden, your retargeting ad appears on their Facebook feed. This may have happened to you. You've probably visited a site for anything in particular, and you go on Facebook the next day or a week later, and hey, that same business is advertising. I've never actually seen them advertise before. That's what retargeting is. They're retargeting to their existing web visitors. So hopefully from there, we're up to number 5 now. Your retargeting ad captures their interest, and then from there they make some kind of approach to you, whether it's by phone call or by contact request form, and they're requesting more information or a sales consultation, or they're actually looking to go ahead with the sale if they're an existing lead. So that's the full cycle from the internet user all the way through retargeting, hopefully into becoming a loyal customer that buys and refers for you. But that's the process. So I'm going to go through how to actually set this up in Facebook right now. So you'll need a Facebook business page to actually do this. So if you don't have it or don't have one, go and get one set up straight away, please. It takes about 30 minutes to an hour just to get one set up. You'll get an ad account set up as well, and now you're going to be ready to get started. So we need to get the Facebook pixel code. So generally it's a long string of text that looks like this. We essentially copy and paste it, and we go and insert this in between the head section on your website code. So hopefully you've got someone on your team that's good with your particular website that you've got, and you can just give them this code, or you might have a web developer that does some work for you. Just get the code, stick it in the header section of your website. Then you just have to keep calm and wait, because it's going to take a short while for the pixel tracking code to get picked up and for everything to start working properly. So generally for Facebook, you will need an audience to be able to market to. So if your website traffic is quite slow coming through, generally it might take anywhere between 20 and 100 visitors for your retargeting list to get activated. So if you're getting let's say 25 visitors a day to your site, it's going to take you 4 days to be able to build up a list that you can actually market to here. So you really just have to wait, but I'm going to show you through the steps anyway. So we've installed the tracking pixel on our site, the Facebook retargeting pixel, and we're slowly building up our audience here. So I'm going to take you through how to actually set up your campaign. So we have sending people to your website is one of the options that we've got here. That's probably one of the most simple ones to use. There are obviously other things that you can do, which you can see on this page. But for now, we're going to do send people to your website. So we click that option. And now we need to select the custom audience. So we can create a new custom audience, and we can do that using the URL. So we essentially can put the URL of our website into the custom audience section, and then it will check the pixel and then figure out how many people are in your audience. So hopefully by now we have at least 100 people in our custom audience there to be able to work with. Now it's time to set our daily budget. So there's a few different ways we can do this. We can set a start date and an end date, or we can just run this ad set continuously. It's really up to you what you'd like to do there. With the Facebook retargeting, they will keep a list for up to 180 days. So it's really up to you how long you want to keep your retargeting list for. Obviously, the longer someone is on that list, the less likely they are to purchase. So if someone visited your website 5.5 months ago, it's potentially unlikely that that they're going to be purchasing. But obviously, people from the last 30 and 60 days are going to be a lot hotter than someone from 6 months ago. So we're going to set the daily budget. We can just start with $5 as a starting point. You might go up to $10. So if you multiply this out by 30, $5 a day is going to be $150 a month, which is obviously not that much. If we're $5 a day, $150 a month, we're up to $1,800 per year. So it's really quite a good investment based on those figures that we went through with that hypothetical business earlier. So we can start with $5 a day. You can go to $10 if you want. But just remember that the list that we've got here is quite small. So it's not like we're going out to thousands and thousands of people here. So we can just go with $5 per day if you like as a starting point. And that's just got AUD because I'm obviously based in Australia with my accent. So use whatever currency is relevant for you. So I've got the $5 spend there. Then if we go down to the optimization of pricing, again, a couple of ways you can do this. The first one, you can click that and it says you'll get more link clicks at the best price. So essentially Facebook is going to be managing the campaign for you in a way. And your other option is to set the bid you're willing to pay per click. So I like to go, if I'm doing this option, just above the suggested bid. That way I'm essentially on the top of the pile, so to speak. Facebook likes me because I'm spending a little bit more than the normal bid, and I might get a little bit more exposure from that. So just to clarify with this is generally the maximum you're going to pay. Often you're going to be paying quite a lot cheaper than this. But if we're using this example, $1.92 is for a link click. So let's not forget we are retargeting here. So someone who's already engaged with your business in some way, whether it's a website visit or a phone call or a lead capture form, the most you're going to spend is $1.92 if they click your post, which might go back through to your website. So $1.92 to get them engaged one more time, I think that's a really sound investment, particularly when that average transaction value we were talking about before was $2,500. So now we need to do the creative for our ad here. So your Facebook page should already be connected to your ad account. So obviously my page, 8Track Business Growth, is set up there. And there's many different ways we can do this, but I've just left an example here. If your headline might be phone, and then whatever your phone number is, and then the text has got thanks for your interest in whatever your service is. So we're retargeting, so they've shown interest in HVAC or a particular heating system or whatever it is. Thanks for your interest in whatever. So the call to action button, we normally go learn more. That tends to be the best one, but again, you can test that. Then if we go where the news feed link description is down the bottom, I've got here, describe why people should come back to your website, include a call to action or a relevant deadline. So essentially you've got a chance there to put your unique selling proposition in with a good strong call to action and possibly a deadline if it makes sense for you, particularly if you've got a sale going on at a particular time of year. That'll be a great time to include that. Now on the right hand side we've got options of mobile news feed. So this is going to go to anyone using a mobile phone, and that'll show up in their feed. The desktop right column is the right hand side of somebody who's actually using a desktop computer, so that doesn't get very many searches at all. We find not many people use Facebook on a desktop. Obviously the mobile devices are really common. And the audience network, I tend to actually turn this audience network off, because you'll find your ad will be on all sorts of weird apps and all those types of things. So I tend to leave that off, although there is an argument to be made for these people have engaged with your business before. So even if it's on a game or something like that on Facebook, an ad there, whilst it's not perfect, it could still get a result. So that might be something that you can test. So from here, this ad that we've just done, that's going to be live within 24 hours. Generally, it's going to happen a lot quicker with that. And it's going to be shown only to people who have visited your website. So you can set up a lot of different custom audiences. You can set them up on a page-by-page basis. So if you're in a time of the year where your business is somewhat seasonal, so you might be in the spring or the fall or autumn, we call it here, where people are getting heating systems and cooling systems. It's just, some might be preparing for the next season, and some might be preparing 9 months ahead, so to speak. So you can actually create these retargeting lists for particular pages on your site and run different ads based on the retargeting page. And it's going to be really, really good for improving your conversions, because it's going to be extra touch points with your business. So thanks for making it this far. I hope you enjoyed the training. If you did, please share and like on Facebook. Comment below if you've got any questions, or just tell me that you enjoyed it. I love to hear some feedback. And importantly, take action on the steps that we've done here. I'm willing to bet that probably less than 1% of people that would see this video would actually take action and do the 2 retargeting phases that we spoke about here. So we have part 3 coming out in a few days' time. It's going to be fantastic. So hopefully you can watch that, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.